Hi everyone, and welcome to today's worship team topic conversation. Today we're going to be talking about selecting song keys. Now, while it's mainly the leader that's in charge of selecting the song keys, it is important for everyone to know how to select song keys, because if you're playing on a worship team, you might wonder, why do we not do it in this key or do it in this key? And so this is beneficial for everyone, but really specifically we're talking to the worship leader of the team. And selecting song keys is just such an important job that should take time and thought when you're doing it. So while there might be a lot of different philosophies for how to select keys, I think there's really three main questions you need to ask yourself when you're picking a key. And let me also say this. These three questions, a lot of us are going to have them in different order of importance. So what I mean is, the first thing that's on top of my priority for picking a key might not be for you. But the point is, there's really just those three main things that you need to ask yourself. So the first question we're going to look at is this. Can the majority of the congregation sing along? So when you're picking a key for a song, you should be thinking, hey, can the congregation sing along with this song, or is it too high, is it too low? Because really the goal of worship leading is to lead others in worship, and that means others can participate, and it's not just a performance. So some of you worship leaders out there may have a big range. You can sing really low to really high, and that's great, but really the truth is that the average person in your congregation will not be able to do that. So without getting into the specifics of from what note to what note, you just kind of want to think, okay, what is a key that is almost middle of my range, that it's not a lot of my high notes, it's not a lot of my low notes, but it's just kind of right there in the mid-range. And that's not to say you never will hit those high notes or those low notes, but you're not staying up there when you sing that song. We have to understand that when we're listening to these original recordings of songs, the worship leaders, these are professional musicians playing the song. And so when you hear Chris Tomlin, who's just got a very crazy high range, you have to understand that the congregation probably isn't going to be able to sing along with Chris Tomlin. And so you might consider, just for the sake of participation, dropping the key a half step, a whole step, depending on your vocal range, so that the congregation can better sing along and worship along with you. Now, the next question we want to ask ourselves is, can the worship leader sing comfortably? Now, while the congregation is important, I think that the worship leader should sing in a key that is very, very comfortable for him or her. If you're a worship leader, if you're not in your right spot where you're comfortable singing and you feel like you're maximizing your voice, then really you're going to have a harder time leading worship and having confidence. And so when you're picking keys, it is important to consider, okay, the congregation, can they sing along? Am I singing so high? But at the same time, you really do need to sing in a key that fits your voice well and that you can operate effectively. Okay, and the last question you need to ask yourselves when picking keys is, how does the key work for your instrumentalists? I want to sing in a key that fits my voice well. I want to sing in a key that fits the congregation well. But I also want to sing in a key that fits what the instrumentalists are doing. Now, this is only people who are playing chords and notes. This isn't necessarily a drummer. But you want to make sure that you're playing in a key that's not absolutely ridiculous to play in for your instrumentalists. Like, for me, it's very hard to play in the key of C sharp on electric guitar, because I usually don't capo electric guitar, but a key like C sharp, that pretty much every chord is a bar chord. You can do power chords and stuff like that, but really, what's the problem with just dropping it to C or even bringing it up to D? That's kind of my philosophy. If I can sing it in C sharp, I can sing it probably in D or in C, because C sharp won't be the top or bottom of my range. And so going a half step above or below will really help my instrumentalists play their parts well, and so they're not having to struggle and learn the part and play all these bar chords and everything like that. So really the point is that less sharps and less flats are just easier to play. And now I know I don't want to say that instrumentalists can't do this, your team members can't do this, but at the same time, we do want to be mindful. If we're playing 4 songs that week and all of them have 5, 6, 7 sharps in it, that's just a very difficult week for an instrumentalist. And so we as the worship leaders can help them by just dropping it a half step or raising it a half step to make the key a little bit easier to play in. So that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 questions you need to ask yourself. Can the congregation sing along? Can I as the worship leader sing effectively? And can my team play the key well? And again, this is up to you to talk with your worship teams, your pastor, your worship director, to see what order you want to ask these questions in. But when you're picking keys, make sure that regardless of the priority of how these line up, that you're asking yourself these 3 questions.